it was a pretty crazy story how we started this. So, Chardon actually called me up and they're like, "You should do a DAT. You should do a DAT." And I was like, "Yeah, but all the DATs have been done." I kind of advised actually BMNR. I was involved in actually Gryphon. I invested there. And I'm like, we're not going to just do another DAT. I was like, well, which company would I want to do that's probably the most mass adoption opportunity? And it was Telegram. So when I started thinking about that, I was like, well, I am not the data ownership person. I'm not the data ownership expert. I'm not a human rights activist. I mean, now I am. And I love it, actually. I think it's great. And I've learned a lot from her and from actually Yuri Minton about, I don't know, just being a nicer, kinder Wall Street executive. So I'm going to walk you through what I think is the actual future of finance and how we're using the AlphaTON capital platform to become more involved in that future. I won't go through the whole timeline again, but I just want to talk to you about how we got here. So the main issue in blockchain is mass adoption. And building mass adoption has to take Web 2 applications and companies and bring them into actually Web 3 without making it difficult. I'm so old, I'm from the actual 90s, so I actually remember trying to make websites that actually people could use. And we're in the same problem again. So from the investment side, we decided that we would start off as a DAT, because DAT is what everybody was looking for. But we knew that the DAT trade could only go so far. And I actually believe that every single company on the planet should have Bitcoin on their balance sheet, because it's a great hedge against fiat currency, no matter where you are. So is that really a strategy going forward? I'm not sure. I mean, I think it is for some of the major players. But for us, I was like, we have to do more than this, because Telegram is an ecosystem play. And I started going through, what are the, what do we want to do with the actual treasury first? And the main idea was we need to build infrastructure. So we want to own a piece of the infrastructure. And when you run the infrastructure, it's like running the old ISPs of the kind of early internet, or being, Cisco and building routers. You're actually helping to fund the infrastructure network that's going to run that certain ecosystem. And that's really the core, not just putting, kind of tokens on a balance sheet. So that's how we got to a point where we're like, let's stake for yield. Let's build out infrastructure. Let's look for ways to actually reinvest that money into new ideas. So not only can we take the yield and reinvest and compound the actual treasury, which is what most folks do, but we can take that same capital and start buying positive EBITDA companies or actually revenue growth opportunities in Telegram. So when we go through this kind of acceleration, there's three actual main areas. One is the actual gaming acquisition is the first one that's going to show you what we're focused on, which is building and buying companies in the Telegram ecosystem that are the top tier. There's been over $1 billion in revenue actually generated in the applications of companies. These are companies that are building on Telegram. This is outside Telegram's actual revenue that's been actually generated in the past year. There are top 100 companies sitting in that ecosystem. We want to talk to those companies. The second part is that once we start to buy companies, I'm a roll-up person. I've done roll-ups. Those things start to have cross applications. A really good example would be the TON, MasterCard deal. With the TON MasterCard deal, we can utilize our MasterCard framework or our payments framework to be used in the healthcare tech sector, to be used in the gaming sector, to be used in the payment sector, to be used in the trading sector. So as we started going through this, we're starting to see that there's a lot of opportunities on a cross-functional basis between the separate companies who we plan to acquire and actually to invest into. So we're going to think about this in a pronged approach. One is acquire companies that are really in that later stage kind of growth equity model, and then also have a separate fund for smaller companies that are more startup. And those companies, we have partnerships being actually discussed with major venture funds that want to co-invest. This is all going to create an active pipeline for us because companies in the ecosystem, it's very hard to go public. It's very hard to get to a point now to go public, the cost of being public, the cost of being in your peer group. You don't want to go list on these OTC markets. They don't really work that well. So you want to be on the Nasdaq, the kind of New York Stock Exchange. You want to be on one of the major markets, Singapore or the London or the Hong Kong. You can't go on the Hong Kong. I mean, you can't go on the Hong Kong as a small company in tech anymore. And that's what Nasdaq actually used to do. So we could be acting as the path to kind of liquidity for a lot of these venture-backed firms and also token-backed retail firms that want to try to find a way to get their investors some type of ROI. And then if they grow big enough, we could spin them out. So what is the future of finance? This is something that I've been talking about for about 5 years. I started talking about this inside OKX when I ran the international strategy, there. I only did it for 7 months because COVID hit. We kind of shut everything down. But the idea is that the future of finance is that the TradFi markets have a lot of issues. They're, the T+1, T+3 trading days. It's slow. It's all been a process controlled by a centralized ecosystem. And if you look at the comparatives between the social media networks of Telegram being decentralized social media networks and actually tokenization, and then you look at what's going on in the trading world, you're seeing the same trend. The trend is a migration to a decentralized network that allows people to trade assets on multiple types of platforms and not be actually controlled by some type of central authority. That's where the migration is going. So we think that actually global trading is so difficult, but now it's all moving actually 24/7. And even the financial markets are moving towards this. In the last quarter, Kraken's X-Stock company, which trades mostly US stocks offshore, traded $5 billion worth of volume in 1 quarter. This is where we're going. The DTCC and all of the back ends of Wall Street, they're all actually tokenizing. Finally, Jamie Dimon has come out and said that he's for crypto. Like, I couldn't believe it. But this is the market for the next 100 years. And that is going to be the decentralized exchanges, no kind of exchange friction, 24/7 markets. Everything has price discovery, and agents are going to be abound doing everything for you in your Telegram application, in your trading application, and everything that you want to manage. That's the future of markets. And I think that the agents are going to go kind of exponential. And that is going to touch everything, not just AlphaTON. So, a lot of folks know this trend. We're kind of moving towards tokenization of everything. That's Larry Fink saying that, not me. That's actually Jamie Dimon saying that now, not me. But we've all been saying it for 15 years. So again, the past, the present, the future is, the past is the person to person. We had the floor with tickets and orders and all that stuff, and people doing, actually retail shopping one-on-one. The present's now moving towards actually AI. You're starting to use more of these AI agents to do things for you, like book a trip or trade a stock. And then the future is going to be your agent talking to that agent to book that trip for you, make sure it's all to your liking and you go on that trip, or it trades the stock that you want to trade based on your metrics. Now how do we kind of take advantage of this? You heard inside AlphaTON, we are going to compound. We'll buy treasury, right? We'll buy ton and compound it on our balance sheet. But when Telegram launched the Cocoon network, which is this decentralized AI network, we're like, Brittany, and we were like the first ones to put out a press release saying we're in. And the reason why we said that is not a hype thing. It's like, no, we believe in this. We believe in the decentralization of data. And if you think about the internet used to be a decentralized network. It's now mostly controlled by 3 large cloud service providers. Like when you're on Google, you're on Google's network of the internet, not the internet. So we think that there's this migration of the encryption layer of the internet, which will become blockchain enabled and more actually decentralized. And Telegram is probably the best company in the world to actually do that. And it's not, again, us saying it, it's the market saying it. 1 billion users plus, going up to 1.5 billion is more than enough proof that this is massive competition against centralized networks. So we want to build on their a core product and technology of actually Cocoon. We want to run servers. We want to earn more ton. Now again, if you earn more ton on actually Cocoon and you're helping to run the AI network, then you're compounding that ton. The other thing that we're doing is the biggest market opportunity is that we're going to have the actual power to create a decentralized control type of environment that's enterprise grade. Because of the experience that we have in actually Gryphon mining or being in crypto for the last 15 years, we know all the miners. We know the ABTCs of the world and the Hut 8s and the Rhodiums and the Core Weaves and the Core Scientifics. We know all of them. So we're going to go to the best people in the hardware business of Bitcoin mining and node staking and partner with Twin Stakes and which is one of our kind of major partners. I can't say all of them, obviously, because we're public. But that's the idea, is that we use the infrastructure to run the actual network, earn the actual token, compound it, and grow. And I think that the biggest thing is that we have the most massive user base in the world. I mean, there's nothing like it. Like, there's no other application that's like this, that is allowing for a company to basically create its own business model on its network without having any type of control over how you actually do it. And no kind of 30% cut. None of that. It's all gone. That is huge. So, I just want to read this real quick. So, our goal is to help Ton and Telegram really become the #1 network in the world. I invested in Ethereum. I own BMNR. I invested in MSTR. I own Bitcoin. I'm just like everyone else who's in the kind of crypto world. But I truly believe that Telegram could be one of the biggest, if not the biggest, chain on the planet, because there is the opportunity there. There's the customers there. There's the wallets there. There are the applications. There's been $1 billion in revenue generated in the past year. It's all there, and no one knows. And that's the amazing thing. No one really seems to know how big Telegram really is. So these are the 4 actual major points. One is we are going to build the infrastructure for Ton and Cocoon. It's basically a network infrastructure. I'm not the hardware guy. I don't build data centers. We're going to go to the right people to build those data centers. 2, we're going to buy the crypto that powers the Telegram kind of ecosystem. And that includes the Gamey token. That includes other altcoins that are supporting or living off of the Telegram kind of ecosystem, not just Ton, right? If there's more crypto companies out there that we can access that are smaller cap, by the way, and again, not kind of financial advice, but there's opportunity there. And if they're being built on the Ton blockchain, or if they're leveraging the Ton blockchain, that's even better. 3rd is that we're going to acquire and invest in the leaders in the Telegram kind of ecosystem. We're going to focus on the top companies in this ecosystem and say, hey, you're doing about $50 million a year, $100 million a year. Why don't you come to us? Because you can't go public. And you can try to go public, but you're going to end up in a really tough spot. But why don't you come to people who are experienced and understand the public equity markets, and especially most of these companies are actually foreign-based. So it's hard enough to run your company in a foreign market on a foreign exchange in your own exchange market. Now coming to the US market is even more difficult and has a lot more pitfalls, but a lot more opportunity for cash flows and for capital. This is the biggest capital market still in the world. Third is, fourth is to build these and invest in these AI projects. So if the future is AI and all the transactions are going to be based on the AI infrastructure, then we're going to invest in those companies. So anyone who's building any kind of AI kind of inference, project, or anyone who's building Telegram applications that help with AI or actually use AI, we're in, right? We're definitely interested. So I'm not going to go over the actual key kind of investment highlights because actually Brittany did a great job, and some of this we're just going to kind of repeat the same thing. But you guys understand that Telegram is probably the only company on that top 100 crypto list that has this opportunity, and it's literally a $5.6 billion market cap FDV. XRP is 160 billion. Just FYI. And of course, here's the actual legal statements, so so you guys can read the safe harbor. And everything that I say here is really because when I think about the investment strategy of where we have to go, I think that there's more power in us working with the Telegram ecosystem because there's just opportunity, there's freedom. Like, I don't have to call up the Telegram CEO and say, can I go build this application, please? I can just go build it. And if it succeeds, I'm in, right? That's the real opportunity here. And I thank you so much for actually coming here today. I thank Nasdaq. I thank, John and the whole team and all the new team members. I think it's a great opportunity. Thanks again.